If you don't want your hearing aids to be seen, these are the only hearing aids you should consider. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and in this video, I'm giving you my top picks for best invisible hearing aids in 2026. Despite the fact that nobody really cares whether or not you have hearing aids, you may just not want your hearing aids to be seen. And if that's you, then I've got you covered. Now, if you don't care whether or not your hearing aids can be seen, feel free to check out all of my other best hearing aids of 2026 videos in this series. Since I started this series back in 2018, none of these videos have been sponsored, which means that brands cannot pay their way to get onto this list, nor do I have an affiliate commission set up with any of these hearing aids. So unlike the other top hearing aid rankings that you'll see on the internet, all of the ones that you'll find in my videos are ones that I actually believe are the best. I have personally reviewed all the features and performance of these different hearing aids, and I use these hearing aids to treat my patients out of my Phoenix, Arizona clinic. You will not find another hearing aid ranking that has as much personal experience with these devices than I do. If you like that, do me a huge favor and click the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. And let me know which one of these invisible hearing aids you think is actually the best down in the comments section. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Now, in no particular order, the first hearing aid on this year's list of best invisible hearing aids of 2026 is the brand new Oticon Zeal. The Zeal is a completely new type of hearing aid from Odokon that they put in their NXT category. Odokon recognized the demand for an invisible hearing aid that could do everything a receiver and canal hearing aid could do. It had to be rechargeable, have similar sound quality, durability, and wireless connectivity. It had to have flexible fitting options with either a custom ear mold or a generic rubber dome. And because some people can be fit with this hearing aid using a rubber dome, if it's acoustically appropriate, you could be fit with this on the same day as your initial consultation, very similar to how you can be fit with a receiver and canal hearing aid. So now, instead of having to use a hearing aid that goes behind your ear to get all of these different features, you can now use a hearing aid that goes entirely inside your ear. The Zeal uses the same Sirius chip that you can find inside of the Odokon Intent line of receiver and canal hearing aids. This chip was trained by Otocon's second generation deep neural network for AI sound processing. As you can see, it is rechargeable with a lithium-ion battery that takes 2 hours to get a full charge, and once you have a full charge, it gets you up to 20 hours of battery life with 4 hours of streaming. It has tap control functionality to allow you to answer your phone. Let me show you its multifunctional removal and retention filament that you see there. That is also a wireless antenna that gives you Bluetooth LE audio capabilities. Now, you might be thinking that that's got to look crazy when it's inside of your ear, and it really does not. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the one in my left ear with that retention and removal string and wireless antenna, and that is essentially what this hearing aid looks like. But as you can see, that device is very inconspicuous even with that string that it has on it. Now, because this gives it Bluetooth LE audio capabilities, that also means that you get Auracast capabilities with these hearing aids. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Auracast, it is essentially a form of broadcast audio that is eventually going to replace telecoils and hearing loops inside of public venues and allow you to stream audio from those public venues directly into your hearing aids. I actually tested this out when I was in Denmark, and I can tell you that it sounds amazing. This hearing aid is very durable. It has an IP68 rating, which essentially means that it is extremely resistant to debris and moisture infiltration. And the primary way that they're able to get all of these different features inside of these hearing aids is their new encapsulation technique. This is where they build all of the internal components of the hearing aid and then pour the outer shell around those components. Similar to how tree sap would encapsulate a bug like a mosquito and then turn to amber, preserving it for millions of years. Combine all of these things together and you have perhaps the most feature-rich and best performing invisible hearing aids ever created. So if you're looking for the absolute best invisible hearing aids here in 2026, it could very well be the Oticon Zeal. Of course, even if the Oticon Zeal is the absolute best invisible hearing aids in the entire world, it will not matter unless you've had them fit and programmed by a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices. That's why I highly recommend that you check out my website, hearingup.com, and find a Hearing Up Network member in your area. All Hearing Up members have been vetted and are committed to following comprehensive audiologic best practices to ensure that you can hear your absolute best with whatever hearing aids you use. So if you want to maximize the performance of any of the hearing aids in this year's list of best invisible hearing aids in 2026, then finding a Hearing Up Network member in your area is your best bet. All right, the second hearing aid on this year's list of best invisible hearing aids of 2026 is the Phonak Lyric. The Lyric extended wear hearing aid has been around for a while, but it recently just got a whole lot better. This hearing aid is by far the most invisible hearing aid on the market because of how deeply it sits inside of your ear canal. Where traditional invisible in the canal hearing aids typically sit in the outer portions of your ear canal, the Lyric sits approximately 4 millimeters away from your eardrum, which means that this hearing aid often goes unseen even if you tell someone to look for it inside of your ear. It's an analog hearing aid, but it is digitally programmable, meaning that despite the simplicity of the Lyric hearing aid, it can be customized by your hearing care professional by digital programming. Users often comment that the Lyric hearing aid is one of the most natural sounding hearing aids because of its analog sound processing. Now remember how I told you earlier that there was a big improvement with the Lyric hearing aid? Well, let me share that with you right now. So traditionally, if you wanted to get Lyric, you had to have your hearing care professional place it inside of your ear canals. You wear them for 2 months at a time. You go back to your hearing care professional, they remove it for you and replace it with a brand new one. Well, now the FDA has actually approved the Lyric hearing aid for self-replacement, which means that you can remove it and replace it yourself. So even if you live a good distance away from your hearing care professional's office, it doesn't really matter as much because you can have your hearing care professional place it one time and then the next time you actually just replace it yourself at home. And don't forget that the Lyric is great for individuals with tinnitus as well because you wear it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And since many individuals get tinnitus relief by just wearing hearing aids to treat their hearing loss, you get tinnitus relief all the time, including when you're sleeping. Now I should mention that there is one big issue with the Lyric hearing aid that almost kept it off of this year's list of best invisible hearing aids in 2026. And that is, it can be very difficult to find a clinic that actually dispenses Lyric because it is such a highly specialized hearing aid. If you live in the greater Phoenix area, my clinic Applied Hearing Solutions has got you covered, but if you live outside of the area, you're probably going to have to go to Phonac.com to locate a provider that works with Lyric. But if you can find a provider, the Lyric hearing aid is one of the absolute best invisible hearing aids that you should have on your list here in 2026. Okay, before I move on to the third hearing aid on this year's list, I should spend a few seconds discussing something that can significantly improve your performance with your invisible hearing aids. If you have hearing loss and you have never done auditory training, you could be leaving a significant amount of benefit on the table. Auditory training is like physical therapy for your ears. You would never go through a knee replacement surgery and not have physical therapy afterwards, just like you should never get treated with a new pair of hearing aids and not do auditory training. And the best and easiest way to do auditory training is with the Lace AI Pro app. Lace AI Pro is backed by over 20 years of clinical research and has been proven to improve your ability to hear above and beyond what you can get from just hearing aids alone. The app is loaded with a ton of different types of training, including for speech and noise, rapid speech, working memory, and deductive reasoning, all which help you hear significantly better. A lifetime license of this app can typically run you around $499, but Dr. Cliff channel subscribers can get a significant discount. So if you'd like to check it out for yourself, I will have a link with the discount code down in the description. All right, the third hearing aid on this year's list of best invisible hearing aids in 2026 is the Starky Signature Series IIC. The Signature Series IIC is a non-wireless hearing aid that came out originally in 2024. This is the perfect invisible hearing aid if you want a purely custom fit device without any frills that is virtually impossible to see. It is not rechargeable as it uses a size 10 disposable battery. It is not wireless and there's usually no push button to allow you to change programs or volume levels. But these things are exactly what keeps these hearing aids so stinking small. This hearing aid sits well beyond the second bend inside of your ear canal, to the point where you really can't see this hearing aid. It is amazing how small this thing is. Of course, it comes in a black color because when you look inside of someone's ear canal that doesn't have anything in it, all you see is a black hole, which renders this hearing aid pretty much invisible. Now, you have to have a very highly skilled hearing care professional who's capable of getting either a really deep physical impression inside of your ear canal, or even better, a digital impression inside of your ear canal because of how deep this thing sets. Then Starky's Hearing Aid Lab goes to work ensuring that this hearing aid is as small as possible and comfortable at the same time. The depth of this hearing aid allows you to use your natural pinna effect. This improves your ability to understand speech and background noise and identify which direction sounds are coming from. And your ears naturally shield the microphones of this hearing aid from any wind noise that you may experience. If you're looking for simplicity and you want a custom invisible hearing aid that you pop in your ear in the morning and take out at night, it's really hard to find a hearing aid that is better than the Starky Signature Series IIC here in 2026. Now keep in mind that all of the hearing aids that I'm talking about in this video had their own detailed review video on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you check those videos out if any one of the hearing aids that I'm talking about in this video piques your interest. I also have a great video that you should really check out about real ear measurement, which is a verification technique that we use when programming a pair of these invisible in the canal hearing aids to maximize their overall performance for you. I'll go ahead and link that video down in the description as well. The fourth hearing aid on this year's list of best invisible hearing aids in 2026 is the Phonak Verto Infinio Titanium IIC. The Verto Infinio Titanium is Phonac's 4th generation IIC hearing aid made out of titanium. Beginning with the Belong platform back in 2017, the Marvel platform in 2020, the Paradise platform in 2022, and now the Infinio platform in 2025, they started creating this line of invisible hearing aids due to the demand for a smaller hearing aid with increased durability. Because the outer shell is actually made out of titanium instead of acrylic, not only is this one of the most hypoallergenic IIC hearing aids on the market, but its extremely thin outer shell is also incredibly durable. Years ago, I even made a video where I took a mallet trying to smash this hearing aid. And while I was able to totally destroy an acrylic shell hearing aid, I only put a small dent into my titanium hearing aids. The Verto Infinio Titanium IIC is very similar to the Starky Signature Series IIC in the sense that it is not rechargeable and it is not wireless. But you do have the ability to change programs as well as volume with these hearing aids, either using a push button that is on the back of the battery door or using the mini control wand. Much like the Starky IIC, how invisible this hearing aid is inside of your ear canal depends on how good your hearing care professional is at getting a really deep physical impression or deep digital scan of your ear. And as you can see, this hearing aid is very difficult to see inside of an ear canal. The Infinio Titanium IIC also uses AutoSense OS 6.0. Now, if you're unfamiliar with AutoSense, essentially this is Phonac's automatic program switching capability, meaning you can go into different environments and then the hearing aid is going to select the proper program settings for you. Even better, all of these programs and digital features inside of the programs are fully customizable by your hearing care professional if your hearing care professional is willing to take the time to optimize them. Pretty much every year since I've been making these best hearing aid videos, the titanium has had a spot on the list, and this year in 2026 is no different. That being said, the fifth and final hearing aid to make this year's list of best invisible hearing aids in 2026 is the Odokon Own SI IIC. The Own SI is Otocon's fully custom option for an invisible in the canal hearing aid, as opposed to their new Zeal NXT hearing aid that I mentioned earlier in this video. The original Oticon Own was initially released back in 2022, but it got a refresh to the Own SI in 2025. This refresh put this hearing aid on the same Sirius platform that you can find inside of the Odokon Intent receiver and canal hearing aids. This means that it also uses Otocon's 2nd generation deep neural network that uses artificial intelligence to separate speech from background noise. Now, Otocon's strategy is a little bit different here. So instead of using steady state noise reduction, Odokon uses something called deep neural network noise reduction. So instead of having to sample steady state noise in the environment for a certain period of time, because these hearing aids have been trained with so many different noise sound samples, the hearing aid can almost instantaneously identify whether or not there's background noise in the environment and start to get rid of it. Now, this hearing aid is extremely small, but in order to get it this small, they did have to give up the rechargeability aspect as well as the wireless connectivity aspect. But as you can see, this hearing aid inside of my ear is very difficult to see, just like all the other hearing aids that I've talked about in this year's video. And just like the Starky and Phonak hearing aids, how deep this sits inside of your ear canal depends on the skill level of your hearing care professional. It also uses a size 10 disposable battery, which will give you approximately 3 to 4, maybe 5 days of battery life. Traditionally, Odokon hearing aids are pretty good at self-adapting to your environments in their regular general program. These hearing aids do not switch between different programs for you, so not having the ability to change between different programs or volume levels is going to be okay for most individuals. But what you give up in self-adjustment capability abilities, it totally makes up for with customization by your hearing care professional. These have a ton of different bands for your hearing care professional to precisely tune them to your hearing loss prescription using real ear measurements. So at the end of the day, if you're looking to significantly upgrade your ability to hear with an invisible hearing aid, you really can't go wrong with the Oticon Own SI here in 2026. And there you go. Those are what I believe to be the best invisible hearing aids here in 2026 based on my personal experience reviewing these hearing aids and treating my patients with them. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap. First, we had the new Oticon Zeal NXT ready-to-wear hearing aid that gives you all of the features of a behind-the-ear receiver and canal hearing aid in a device that fits into your ear canal and can potentially be fit the same day. Second, we had the Phonak Lyric Extended Wear hearing aid, intended to be worn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for up to 2 months at a time. This hearing aid is perfect if you prefer to wear your hearing aids at all times or if you're trying to mitigate the negative effects of tinnitus. Third, we had the Starky Signature Series IIC. This hearing aid is Starky's smallest and most invisible custom IIC yet. Its simplicity allows this device to be super small, making it almost impossible to see inside of your ears. Fourth, we had the Phonak Verto Infinio Titanium IIC, one of the most durable and most hypoallergenic hearing aids on this list. Its AutoSense OS 6.0 feature makes it perfect for the hearing aid user who wants their hearing aids to function as automatically as humanly possible. And fifth, we had the Oticon Own SI IIC. This second generation deep neural network hearing aid from Odokon uses the same AI sound processing as their extremely popular Odokon Intent hearing aids. What it lacks in a ton of digital features, it makes up for with its small size and great performance. Now remember, I do have detailed reviews of all of these hearing aids on my YouTube channel if you'd like to check them out. Don't forget to check out Lace AI Pro if you're looking to maximize your overall hearing ability. Remember, I do have a link and discount code in the description for you. And whatever you do, if you're going to be getting one of these invisible hearing aids, make sure that you go to a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices like you can find at hearingup.com. Otherwise, you'll end up hating these hearing aids and blaming me for it. And finally, do not forget to check out all of my other best hearing aids of 2026 videos in this series that I'll link in the description for you.